Hi, welcome to Ian's Diner. I'm Ian Lauer.
And I'm Tad the Diet Coach.
In the diner, we bring you information to help you make wise choices in the kitchen or on the road. And today, we're doing a versus series. Which foods are we pitting against each other today?
Actually, today we're going to pit 3 different foods together, and they're very popular in the industry. Wheat bread, P28 bread, thank you, Billy, and also Ezekiel bread, which has been very popular thanks to Jay Cutler after he started to promote it a little bit, even though I've seen it in the marketplace, and they all have their value. All the breads have their value. In general, bread gets a bad rap. It used to be called, the turn of the century, the superfood, because it contains proteins, fats, and carbs. And they used to think you could live completely off of that. We know now it's an unhealthy way to live, not just because of the accelerated carb content, but also because it's not really complete in all of its amino acid structures, and you could develop some deficiencies because of it. But it is a really great food in general, especially in the forms that come. I'm not a big fan of just straight wheat bread, although you can integrate that into a diet because it does with the extra, as opposed to white bread, which is really bad because the high glycemic index that follows it, that those sugars hit your bloodstream very quickly because of the lack of fiber. Wheat bread has a little bit more fiber, but the benefit you get from some of that outside of just getting extra fiber isn't great. So it doesn't reduce that glycemic number all that much. Not enough to impact your body fat levels in any significant way. So people who think they're eating wheat bread versus white bread is doing them a lot of great good, they're wrong. It's the carbs that are eaten that the bread has in it that's really doing more of the damage to them. But B28 is different because there's only about 12 grams of carbs per slice. And there's a significant amount of protein, and it's infused with whey protein, and then there's very little fat in it. So you can actually make a very nice complete meal with that, their P28 spread, or some meat, and some lettuce and some cheese, and that would be a great complete protein source and a light carbohydrate source, about 22 grams for one sandwich. So that makes that bread very desirable because it is high in fiber as well. There's a lot of fiber in it, and it does reduce its glycemic load. So that's good. And then, of course, Ezekiel bread is the lowest of all of them in terms of its glycemic response in the body, and you don't get a really high spike. It's very similar in terms of its carbohydrate structure. The lower in protein than the P28. I think P28 is a much better choice when it comes to bulking up. It comes to that kind of, if you're integrating something in a diet for prepping, I think that Ezekiel bread works a little bit better sometimes if you're restricting carbs. If you're not, then P28 can work. But in general, they're all still wheat sources, with the exception of Ezekiel bread, which makes it unique in these 3. So that's why I actually favor it, because it's a sprouted bread, and it's not an actual bread per se, which is why it tastes the best when you toast it. Whereas you could actually eat the other breads, wheat bread and P28, without it, because they're actually really bread. So if you want real bread taste, P28 or whole wheat. If you want a better nutrient profile and a better response in the body in terms of its glycogen response or in terms of its blood sugar response, then probably Ezekiel bread. So when I look at this trifecta of breads, I'd say that the Ezekiel bread wins out from a function standpoint, but from a nutrient standpoint and from a overall, I'd say if you were to rank it overall, I'd say P28 actually, I like it better than all 3 of those. It tastes better, it's more versatile, and it works. And it's been specifically designed for this community. As my Billy Sullivan, who does a lot to run that company and who I've had many conversations with and who supplies me with lots of great bread. I remember when he first told me his story many years ago, and they developed this bread, these line of products specifically for their bodybuilders, specifically for their physique athletes who wanted an alternative source that didn't impact their bodies the way that normal bread does. And they were able to really do a really great job doing it. So while I like Ezekiel bread, I'd say, again, I said that probably Ezekiel bread wins out if they were in the competition prep side of things. But as an overall addition to your day and nutrients, P28 definitely wins out.
Excellent, Tad. Thanks for sharing your knowledge on that subject.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. And if people have any other questions for me or want details about some of the issues and things we talked about, they're more than welcome to email me at tad@tadthedietcoach.com or just visit my website.
So if you haven't yet, make sure you follow Tad.
Absolutely.
And thanks for joining us here at Ian's Diner. Make sure you check back soon for more great episodes.